Welcome back. I'm Kim Bailey, she's Fulyana Osborne, and this is Inside Exec. Today we're continuing our discussion with Anna Mirzayan, and we're going to leave marketing for a little while. We talked a lot about marketing in the last podcast, and today we're going to move on to public speaking and presentations.
The decision to seek some external assistance with your public speaking skills or your speaking skills, did that come upon you gradually, or was it just I have to do this?
Go back a few years is what we're saying.
Yeah. Well, what happened was I was increasingly needing to do more and more presentations. And while I did them, I knew they weren't engaging, and I was doing everything wrong. Well, I didn't realise it at the time. The one thing that I struggled with, I remember my decision in how I came across Toastmasters. One day I was sitting down writing a speech for the CEO to deliver. It was a major launch that we were doing. And I struggled to structure it, getting it right, and how do I put this? Which one do I say first? How much do I say? And I remember saying, this is ridiculous. I really need to do something about this. And so it was pretty much that night that I went online and searched for, I wasn't sure what to look for, but I was looking for presentation skills, public speaking skills, communication skills, I was typing a whole heap of different things. And Toastmasters came up in my search. I thought, I've heard of them. What do they do? I didn't really know much about them. And I looked them up and I found out what they did. And then I learned that one of the segments was running a short 6-week course. I thought, brilliant. Why don't I just do that first, and that might be all I need to do. And I remember writing a speech which I had to send through, and I sent it through to the CEO, and he went, I think this needs a bit more work. My first session at Toastmasters, one of the things that they showed me is how to structure a speech. And once the lights went on, I went back and rewrote that speech and sent it through again. It was like, what a difference. I did that for 6 weeks, the course itself, and then I realised more and more that you need to continually do this if you want to constantly improve your communication and public speaking skills. So I then joined and constantly, they meet once every fortnight, so I went to their meetings every week, and then I took on more and more, and then I became their president, and that was also another exciting time for me to do that, because the Toastmasters method is really learning by doing. They teach you to not only, their tagline is where leaders are made. Not about communication, but it's where leaders are made, because they believe leadership and communication are really interlinked. And so everything that you do, if you only communicate, that's helping you in your leadership skills. But public speaking is an area that helps so many parts of your life. And what these meetings are about is to give you the opportunity, give all members an opportunity to get up and speak in front of people. No matter what it is, you might be delivering a speech, a prepared speech, or you might be doing the toast, or you might be evaluating somebody else's speech. You might be chairing a meeting, because we have parliamentary procedures. So how do you chair a meeting? How do you run a meeting effectively? How do you get up and speak impromptu? Get thrown in the end and you've got to get up there. There's all of these things that helps you to build your self-confidence in any situation, whether you're in a small gathering with large organisation, large meeting. So because you're constantly being given feedback, you're constantly being given the opportunity to get up and talk. Even a lot of people, we see them coming in, are so nervous. It's the first time they just can't stand in front of a group of people. A few weeks on, the confidence level to be able to get up there and deliver a speech are phenomenal. I loved it. I loved seeing, first of all, myself getting myself confidence, but then I saw that, and then what I learned there, obviously I took it back to the workplace, and I started to deliver speeches there. But then continuing on from that, seeing others, helping others, and seeing the difference from day one, then a few weeks on, it's just incredible. That sort of led me to a new passion, I suppose, if you like. And that's when I started then to work with organisations and helping their staff, because we do, obviously you've got public courses, but then we also do corporate training. Yeah, I just finished 6 courses over 4 weeks each with one organisation, with their executives and different levels of staff. And again, like myself, a lot of these individuals would get up and do presentations, but they hide behind a PowerPoint. And they put the PowerPoint up there, and the PowerPoint's doing the talking instead of them. And we encourage them. What we do in the corporate courses is we say no PowerPoint. We want you to first of all learn how to structure what you're going to present, and then we want you to have the confidence to get up there and talk to the audience. Talk to the audience, and then we gradually put in the PowerPoint. If you want the PowerPoint needs to support you, not you supporting the PowerPoint. So no death by PowerPoint.
Thank God for that.
So we show them how to show the PowerPoint. You don't need to put everything in, just one line and you talk to it. And it makes a huge difference. And we've noticed that because I've gone back and spoken to those people that have been through the course and the change that it's made in them. Because I know it's sort of made that change in me as well, to be able to look at the audience in the eye and talk to them and engage with them and not just talk numbers or... Because even numbers, you can make numbers interesting. It's telling a story. There are numbers there. What's the number saying? It's being able to explain that. And that's the key difference.
In fact, what you just said now about tell the story, they're encouraging people to do that at interview now. Instead of going through the question answer, tell us your story.
Exactly.
And this way they get to know you and your journey as
That's
well.
Right.
I'm actually interested because, Kim, you're also in that space, and I really think that it'd be good to hear both your views. You both are real professionals in that regard. You've got your own businesses. You're both passionate. I know you're both. And you certainly helped me and helped so many others that I know of. So, again, it'd be good to share. Do you have similar experiences, Kim?
I certainly do. And my focus is far more on the individual coaching role. Mm-hmm. Because I'm much older than you are.
She's not.
And I'm winding down for Christmas. I'm just winding down generally. No, truthfully, I only want to allow a certain amount of time per week for public speaking. But I'm interested to hear you talk about presentation skills. Because for me, that is the term that I use. Because it is about presentation. It's not about public speaking. I think for a lot of executives particularly, public speaking has been confused with selling from the platform, and that's not what I'm about either. It is about looking at your individual skills and the opportunities you have to make presentations and what you need to do. And what I find most is that we'll do all of this training about the workplace, and then when they're at a product launch or they've got to promote something and they have to do radio interviews, it all goes out the window.
Yeah.
And I don't have to write anything down for that because I'm just going to be talking on the radio.
Yes.
The
power
Let me
of
start
preparation.
again. Every time you open your mouth, this is what you're going to have done beforehand.
Precisely. And that's what we say. One of the things that I constantly try to hammer in is that no matter what it is, what speech it is, you need to write it down. First of all, when you write it down, you can adjust and you can structure it. I'm not suggesting you read it, but you write it down because you're able to structure it in your mind exactly what points. Is it too many points? Is it too few points? What am I going to incorporate? But also, if you're given a time limit, you need to stick to that time. And if you don't write it down, you could just go on, and that's you shouldn't be doing that. You need to stick to the time. You need to respect your other speakers or the conference organisers or whatever it is that they're doing to stick to your time. So that's one of the methods is to teach you how to manage how much words to write in order to be able to keep within your time. And when you structure it, it's in your mind. And when you put it all together, it's surprisingly how you can deliver with no notes whatsoever. If you're using PowerPoints, then that sort of triggers what you're going to say. But it's when you've got it all down there. And if you miss a word or two, it doesn't matter. Everyone does. I think that's the key thing. People are afraid, but I'm going to forget to say this point or that point. Nobody noticed.
No.
In the overall.
And that's probably the biggest issue about getting nervous as well, is that they focus so much on getting nervous
That's right.
that they forget that they're there to deliver a message.
That's right.
And if you focus on the message rather than how you feel, then the message will get through.
Absolutely.
One of my very first experiences of speaking in public, I had to welcome a group that were incoming to a particular organisation as the person who had been incoming in the previous year. I was representing them. the next year through. Wrote out the speech, had it all practiced, did it all perfectly, got up, put the speech on the lectern, looked out at this sea of faces and completely and utterly forgot everything that I had learnt. I read the first sentence and paused, and this is when I learned the value of a pause. Paused, looked around again, and I to this day I cannot remember. Well, I know I remember the first sentence always, but I don't know what the rest of the speech was. Obviously made it. Heard the applause at the end. At the end of that year, got a special award because it was the best speech, welcoming speech that the organisation had ever had in its existence. And I thought, I can't remember any of it, but obviously the message got through.
Yes.
So my big bit of advice for everyone is just forget about how you feel.
Right.
Or don't focus on how you feel. Everyone gets nervous.
And that was a very important point that you made about the pause. The number of people that are afraid to pause. But the pause is very powerful right through your speech. So that's why people quite often jump from one to the next, or they fill it with ums and ahs and all the rest of it.
You know.
Yeah.
Still, there's a way to stop people using the word isn't there, Fulyana?
Yes, she edits me out.
I stand there and count them.
Yeah. And the pause is very powerful because it lets the audience digest what they've just heard and prepare them for what you're about to come. And it's a way also for the speaker to get your mind back to, if you've lost your way.
So I always remind people about when they were at school. And when you're at school and the teacher's talking and you sort of start to switch off a bit and you look around the classroom, or you flick paper wads at other people, or you do all the things that you do in the classroom, and then the teacher stops. And your first reaction is, oh no, I should have been paying attention. I better listen now.
Yeah.
So it's the same when you're making a speech. If you stop,
Yeah.
then any of the audience that haven't been following you will suddenly be brought back to the moment.
Right.
I should be listening now.
But when you're less experienced, you see the pausing as a freeze.
That's right.
So to me, I think if I stopped talking, I froze, and everybody knows it.
Oh, that'd be true.
You know, it would be true. But when you make that transition, think I'm pausing, I'm recollecting, it's not that long, you can breathe, you don't have to just keep talking, then you make that transition.
So the other thing that I have found quite interesting is the breathing.
Yes.
And the breathing exercises that you can do, because I haven't yet ever met, and maybe you have, anyone who likes the sound of their own voice when they hear it recorded. You record their voice and you play it back to them. It's like, oh, don't sound like that.
Yeah.
And I'll say, well, show me your passport photo because you probably don't look like that either. No, you look like this, you sound like that.
Yes.
So let's just get on with what we're doing.
Yeah.
But the breathing in terms of voice control
Yes.
and nerves, control of nerves, and I think the voice projection as well is something that we don't get taught as much as we used to.
And everyone is different. I know some very, very, very good speakers that literally shake. And you can see their legs, so they need to know how to stand or hide it or whatever. Some of us just lose their voice. At the beginning, I used to just lose it. It just disappeared because
we all
I
look
didn't
forward
do
to that.
Yes, most of my friends and family loved it. But yes, but it didn't serve me well when I was supposed to be working. But you had to learn how to then breathe and how to do that and how to hide some of those things that obvious to you, but not to everyone else. Let them concentrate on the message and not on all the other stuff.
Yeah, the number of times when a speaker, because we evaluate everything, and in the evaluation process, I tell them how good they were. But I was shaking. Could you not see? I said we didn't see anything. And the number of times that they are so nervous that they think the audience sees that, but we don't see any of it. They just come through smoothly. And when they've done that a few times, they realise and they start to build their confidence.
Because you're listening to the message. The message is strong enough. You don't see or hear anything else.
The other thing is that I learned along the way assumptions I made about people. Say I had one person who was very extroverted, very comfortable in social environments, very confident, but when it was coming to actually standing at the front and talking, that person wasn't. And on the other side, we had someone who's very introverted, didn't like social, and they were excellent at being in the front. So again, we can't assume, and we need different skills to help us along.
It is interesting, isn't it? That you wouldn't expect the extroverts to feel nervous, would they?
Yes.
Well, a different persona and it's different judgment as well. It's
Yes.
about which person are you putting on trial, where the introvert can say, well, to do this I'm going to have to be this other person, so I'll
Yeah.
do that.
True.
Whereas the extrovert doesn't want to be judged by being different to what they are normally. And then that is another thing that I find interesting in the work that I do with people, is that they will often say, I can't have this style, I can't talk like you do, I can't present in this way because that's not me. And the exercise then is to find out what is you,
Yes.
and how can you do that presentation being
Yeah,
you,
being
because
you.
if you're not you,
Exactly.
then no one's going to listen. All they're going to say is, why is he like that?
Yeah.
Why is he doing it that way? So
You want to
really
be
need
natural.
develop your own style.
Yeah.
And what I find works most often for people is that they will model someone else, model someone that they feel comfortable about as a person, and they know they like their style, their presentation, all the qualities that they're exhibiting, and so I'll get them to actually think that way, think the way that person's thinking, use the same gestures. And I must say at this point in the podcast that it's very good that it's not video, because both Anna and I are throwing our hands around like you wouldn't believe, and have been right from the start. And Fulyana's been very quiet, very quietly in the corner. So any of you who want the trick of keeping Fulyana quiet in the corner, we'll let you pay for that at another date. But the development of style is one that takes a little bit of time, but it's worthwhile, because it does, again, give you the confidence to be able to get your presentation together, know that you can do it in a language that you can use, that you're comfortable doing, and if you need to model someone to do that, then that's a good quick method to get to the point where you need to be.
Well, I think that both the work that you both are doing in relation to public speaking and presentation is the best gift you can give anyone. And I really believe that sometimes you can be so good at what you do, but that's all, you know, particularly if you're managing a team, if you're representing the organisation, whatever you're doing, that public image is so important, and it can take away all your good work if you don't. So I found that must be very, very rewarding for you to help others with it.
It's a very important skill, actually. People
Yes.
underestimate how important it is, because it improves so many areas of your life. When you feel confident to be able to get up and speak in front of a group of people,
Yes.
not only does it help you in your confidence in public speaking, but it also helps with one-on-one conversations.
Definitely.
It helps you in your sales presentations. It helps
Yes.
you in your leadership capability.
Yes.
So many different ways. It really differentiates you and really supports your life, even in your family area. So it's a really
Definitely.
such an important skill, which
Yes.
I think I underestimated before I got into it.
I think it's one that we don't think about
No.
until
Yes.
we are faced with a situation where we do need to address it, and address it in different ways. And I found that the story of how you came to Toastmasters fascinating,
Yes.
because it's not a part that people would necessarily think about. If they're writing a speech, they wouldn't think, I'll go to Toastmasters. So it's a really good way of getting this information out to people. That doesn't have to be that you're going to make a speech.
Yes.
Toastmasters is all about a lot more than just getting up
Yes.
in front of a group of people and saying something. And it's worthwhile. That 6-week introduction is very worthwhile for people to get a feel of what the organisation can do for them and what they can give back to the organisation as well, because you do feel the need to do that when you develop a skill that you've been avoiding for a long time. So I thank you for sharing that with us, because that's a very important message for us to get out. We are heading towards the end of our time, which is a shame in a way, because we've certainly filled the time with lots of conversation. So perhaps the one question we haven't asked you, Anna, that we do ask all of our guests, and it's a little bit off topic, but we'll get your response anyway, because we've got everyone's responses. What do you see as the difference between coaching and mentoring?
Oh, it's interesting, the word coaching and how that's come about. Because for me, coaching for a long time has been, because I was a former basketball player, and I've always had a coach. The coach shows you the right techniques, the right way to do it. A mentor is somebody, I don't know if there's much of a difference actually. A mentor is somebody that you can just go to any time. You can ask them questions, hey, I'm not sure what to do about this, how do I go about that, and get their point, and they can really direct you. A coach, from what I've seen, is somebody who is actually training you in a particular area, a particular way. Now, that's my view. It might be wrong.
There's no right or wrong.
No.
We're just interested in collecting everyone's views,
Yeah.
because then the extension of that is, do you see that there's a difference between those two roles and an accountability partner? Which is the in phrase at the moment. If you're not a mentor and you're not a coach, you're an accountability partner.
I don't see why the three can't be the one,
Mm-hmm.
because you're coaching somebody, you're coaching them, teaching them how to perform certain parts or tasks. You're mentoring them as well when they're not sure what to do, and showing them the way to do it, and then you hold them accountable. So I don't see why it wouldn't be all the one.
Mm-hmm.
You could have three different people, but I very much think all three can be one and the same.
Yeah. And do you see a need for individuals at any level in an organisation to have those roles that they refer to?
Absolutely.
Always?
Absolutely.
Always?
I think most managers, I think it's important, because I know for me it was extremely important, and I know I had a mentor, and that was the most invaluable. I used to look so forward for those meetings. Everything that was on my mind, I would, put it out there, get some really valuable insights, and it's the key thing is that independence insight that you get that you don't get within the organisation or from people that know you that you're working with. So it's that having that completely independent view, and if you're wrong, they will tell you you're wrong. They'll tell you their view, they leave it up to you then to find your way. I think that's why it's really important to have somebody completely independent to get things off your chest, to throw your ideas out there, get their input, and then to go back. So absolutely, I think it's extremely.
And is it a role that you've taken on, or you look forward to taking on?
I haven't taken it on yet, but it would definitely be something that I would like to be involved in. Yeah, moving forward, absolutely, because I found it so valuable. So
We might see if Fulyana's got anything left to add.
Yeah, I'm sure if I was listening to this, I would want to know how do I get in touch with either of you about any of the topics. So just want to make sure that we will put that on the site. We put links to your both organisation or to companies, and this way people can come to you now that they heard what you've got to offer and how you think, more importantly.
Yes, boss.
Yes.
Yes, boss.
we all need a boss.
Don't tell her that. No. I've spent 50
Thank you.
podcasts
That's just
getting the
reaffirmed.
positioning
Just
right.
reaffirm.
The last lot of podcasts, she was in charge.
I had to be in charge, and yes, we won't have a fight on air. Yes, that's right.
No, it's been weeks since we've had a fight on air.
Yeah, that's right. We missed it.
Anna, is there anything else that you'd like to add
No,
to what we've talked about today?
Thank you for your time. It's been really good. It's been enlightening actually to think about some of these things that you don't really think about until you're questioned.
Well, it's certainly been a pleasure for us to
Yes.
hear your story and to be able to share some of your insights. So we thank you for your time today. I'm Kim Bailey. She's still Fulyana Osborne, and this is Inside Exec.